You think she's just being nice, but beneath that smile, she's getting turned on and hiding it. These are 10 everyday interactions that reveal hidden desire. So let's get into it. These are the kinds of signals most men overlook, not because they're subtle, but because we've been conditioned to misread them. Here's the first one you need to start recognizing. 1. She laughs harder and longer than the joke deserves. Genuine laughter is a physiological response involving the limbic system, specifically the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. But when a woman laughs at a joke that's average at best, it's not about the content. It's about what the laughter is accomplishing socially. In attraction psychology, laughter can serve as a nonverbal submission cue. It signals safety, agreement, and alignment. When a woman repeatedly laughs at things you say, even things that aren't objectively funny, it's not because your material rivals a stand-up special. It's because her brain is assigning value to your presence. This reaction is part social bonding, part arousal response. The vagus nerve, which regulates emotional expression and connects the brain to the gut and heart, becomes more active in heightened emotional states. Laughter in this context becomes a release of nervous energy, a physiological response to excitement she doesn't want to label openly. If it's consistent, exaggerated, or slightly delayed, as if she's forcing it to continue, that's not courtesy. That's interest slipping through the cracks. 2. The way she says your name more than once with a shift in tone. When attraction builds, a woman's vocal tonality and speech patterns shift, often without conscious intent. Saying your name repeatedly in a single conversation is one of the clearest indicators that you've moved beyond generic rapport. Here's what to look for. She elongates your name or shifts her tone upward at the end, a pitch that resembles how people talk to infants or pets, soft, high-frequency sounds that signal emotional openness. She says your name to anchor attention, which is a subconscious strategy to pull focus back to you, especially when the conversation drifts. She inserts your name into statements where it isn't necessary. "You're so funny, Chris," or "You would say that, Mark." This behavior taps into what's known in psycholinguistics as paralanguage cues, non-content speech behaviors that reveal intent. Saying your name isn't about information, it's about increasing personal connection and ownership over the interaction. When women are disinterested, they depersonalize communication. When they're aroused, they do the opposite. 3. Light, accidental touches that keep happening. Touch triggers oxytocin release, often referred to as the bonding hormone. But there's more at play when touch happens in public or early in conversation. When a woman initiates brief physical contact multiple times, especially when it doesn't serve a practical purpose, she's bypassing the verbal filter and allowing her body to speak. Here are some examples. A quick touch on the forearm during a laugh, brushing your shoulder by mistake, adjusting your jacket or straightening your sleeve. These are not utilitarian gestures. They are proximity escalation behaviors, intended to test comfort levels with increasing intimacy. According to social psychologist Dr. Edward T. Hall's proxemics theory, people maintain different spatial zones based on emotional closeness. When someone enters the personal, 1.5 to 4 feet, or intimate, 0 to 1.5 feet, zone consistently and adds touch, they're signaling strong emotional or physical investment. If she touches you more than once without pulling back or apologizing immediately, that's not being friendly. That's her nervous system testing your receptivity. 4. She challenges you, but keeps smiling while doing it. When a woman debates, corrects, or playfully confronts you, while keeping her tone light or her body open, she's engaging in sexual tension creation. This isn't about disagreeing, it's about provoking response. Behavioral psychology labels this as engagement seeking. She introduces friction to increase emotional stimulation. The goal isn't to win the argument, it's to keep your attention locked in. Look for these signs. She pushes back on a minor point, then smiles while watching your reaction. She makes sarcastic comments that beg a reply. She playfully mocks you or exaggerates something you said earlier. This behavior aligns with what's known as negging behavior in reverse. It's not malicious. It's instinctive teasing. her way of creating a challenge dynamic where you're subtly being asked to step into a more dominant, decisive role. If she weren't interested, she wouldn't risk the tension. She'd keep things flat, agreeable, and forgettable. 5. She sends you pointless updates with no real purpose. When a woman texts you about something trivial, her day, a random observation, a song she heard, it's not about the information. It's a contact initiation signal designed to maintain a connection without appearing overt. This taps into intermittent reinforcement, a psychological pattern where unpredictable rewards, like your replies, increase dopamine activity in the brain. Essentially, she sends a low-effort signal to see if she can trigger a satisfying response. This is also rooted in preemptive vulnerability, a safe way to stay on your radar without risking rejection. Instead of saying, "I want to talk to you," she says, "Here's a funny thing that happened today." The message underneath is, "I'm thinking about you. I want attention, but I'm not ready to ask for it directly." The moment she starts sending these messages consistently, especially at night or during emotionally flat parts of the day, afternoons, Sunday evenings, she's no longer being polite. She's seeking emotional intimacy in disguise. So once she's laughing a little too hard, touching a little too often, and finding reasons to stay in contact, it's not neutral anymore. Now you're in the space where her body starts revealing what her words won't. Let's look at 5 more signs. This time, the ones she tries hardest to hide. 6. Her eye contact lingers, then breaks quickly. Eye behavior is one of the most revealing indicators of arousal and emotional state. A woman holding eye contact for longer than what is socially necessary, then looking away abruptly, is displaying what's called a gaze aversion spike. This isn't about shyness. It's about internal tension created by attraction. Here's why this matters. When a person is emotionally neutral, their gaze patterns remain steady and functional, usually 3 to 5 seconds of eye contact in a conversational rhythm. But when attraction is present, especially sexual interest, the dopaminergic reward system becomes activated. This can cause pupils to dilate, a measurable response in attraction studies, and extend gaze time unconsciously. When she locks in for that extra beat, then breaks it as if she got caught, what's happening neurologically is a conflict between desire and control. The amygdala, processing arousal, and the prefrontal cortex, managing social behavior, are in conflict. She's drawn in, but doesn't want to show it directly. The key is consistency. One lingering glance could be coincidence. Repeated episodes signal inner stimulation she's not verbally expressing. 7. She mirrors your body language. Mirroring is not casual mimicry. It's a neurologically rooted synchrony behavior that shows up when two people are in rapport, especially when emotional intensity is rising. Research in nonverbal communication and interpersonal synchrony shows that when a woman mirrors posture, gesture, or tone, it's a form of unconscious alignment. And it's strongly correlated with interest. Specific patterns to look for. You cross your arms, she does the same within seconds. You lean back, she follows the motion a beat later. Your speech pace or volume changes, and hers subtly adjusts. The reason this happens is mirror neurons. These are neural structures in the premotor cortex that fire both when a person performs an action and when they observe someone else performing it. In attraction scenarios, mirroring becomes a biological method of bonding. It's how the body says, "We're in sync." A woman won't mirror someone she feels nothing toward. She only does it when her nervous system is trying to establish closeness without verbalizing it. 8. She over-explains her availability. A woman who's indifferent keeps her schedule vague. A woman who's interested often does the opposite. She starts justifying her time and movements without being asked. She might say these, "I was just home tonight doing laundry. I didn't have any plans, so I figured I'd check in. I almost stayed in, but I thought I'd stop by real quick." Psychologically, this is a preemptive rationalization pattern. It serves 2 purposes. 1. Signals availability without seeming too forward. 2. Protects her image by avoiding the appearance of desperation. In behavioral terms, she's trying to make her attention toward you appear circumstantial. I just happen to be free, even though she chose to direct her energy your way. This allows her to show interest while minimizing social risk. This behavior also reflects investment signaling. She's not just around. You've become a factor in how she's framing her evening or week. That's not friendliness. That's selective attention. 9. She adjusts her behavior to appear more reserved around you. Attraction often causes behavioral recalibration. If a woman tends to be loud, expressive, or overtly flirtatious with others, but tones it down when interacting with you, that's not disinterest. It's the opposite. She's managing her image because your opinion matters more. This is driven by impression management, a concept in social psychology referring to how individuals alter behavior to influence how others perceive them. When she senses your standards are different, especially if you project discipline or discernment, she instinctively pulls back on anything that might seem unserious or excessive. You might notice she's more thoughtful with her words around you. She dresses more intentionally without being flashy. She avoids using certain language or referencing wild behavior she's shared with others. This isn't about authenticity. It's about strategic self-presentation. She's filtering herself to meet what she assumes are your standards. Women only do this when attraction is high and evaluation risk is present. 10. She makes a suggestive comment, then downplays it. Sexual innuendo wrapped in plausible deniability is a signature move in early-stage female arousal. When a woman makes a comment that could be interpreted as flirtatious or risque, then immediately brushes it off, laughs, or redirects, that's not indecision. That's calculated testing behavior. It serves 3 functions. 1. Escalates tension while giving her an exit strategy. 2. Forces a response. She wants to see if you catch it. 3. Creates shared subtext, which deepens intimacy without commitment. She might say, "You'd probably be dangerous after 2 drinks. Kidding, of course. Don't tempt me like that. I mean, not that you are. I better behave, or maybe not." This behavior is rooted in ambiguous signaling, a feature of human mating psychology that allows for indirect sexual communication with minimal social cost. It's how attraction plays defense while still moving forward. The moment she uses sexually tinted language, she's crossed a threshold. She's now introducing the idea of sex into the interaction without overtly doing so. If even one of these signs felt familiar, pay attention. Because once you start seeing these patterns, you'll realize they were happening around you the whole time. And if you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe for more real-world, psychology-driven insight into how women signal interest and what most men completely miss.